Hey, Ross here with TrueCut CNC. Today I'm going to talk about some basics of Rhino. Previous video we talked about the setting the screen up. So today I'm going to talk about just moving things around the screen. We'll talk about the grid snap, object snaps, the gumball, things like that. So first let's just draw something simple on the screen. We'll draw a circle. Now I've got gumball turned on. So you'll notice when I click on that circle, I get this colorful gumball right here. So there's a couple of ways now that becomes useful. We can use that to move the object just by clicking the center. And I've got grid snap turned on down here, bottom of the screen, so it's snapping to the grid. And if you recall in our setup, we set the snap to 1/16 of an inch, and each one of these small squares is an eighth. So that would move it up in the Y 1 inch and over in the X 1 inch. And that's a 2-inch circle. So if I wanted to scale that circle, I can just grab this right here, this handle, and click and drag. It actually drags it out on one side. Then I can click on this one and drag that out. Now if I want to scale it uniformly, if I hold the shift key, then I can just click on one of them and it scales uniformly. I can also grab these guys here, the arrows, and move like that. Now where this gets really interesting is if you switch to 3D view. We'll switch to 3D now. I can use that gumball in 3D space. So if I click on the up arrow, which is the Z-axis, it moves straight up. If I click on the red arrow, it moves over. If I click on the green arrow, it moves back. Really nice for moving things around in this 3D space. Whereas if you didn't have those arrows, it'd be difficult to tell which direction you were going. Now we'll put it back down to 0. Go back to our top view. Back to 0. Okay, so that's the gumball. Now this is grid snap right here. If I turn grid snap off, then I don't get any snap at all to the grid. Grid snap, I usually keep it on most of the time. Object snap, you have all these different object snaps right here. So object snaps are really useful in Rhino. So turn on object snap, and all these boxes show up here, these check boxes. So if I wanted to put another circle inside this circle, I could click the circle tool, turn on the center snap. As soon as I touch the edge of that circle, it's going to snap to the middle. And then I can put another circle dead center of that circle. If I wanted to, let's say, put a crosshair in the middle of that, I can turn on the quad snap and grab a line. Now it's going to snap there, 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 there. 4 places. And I can go ahead and put a crosshair in there. Intersection snap would snap to any point where you have intersecting lines. So if you have, like right there would be an intersection, there would be one. If we had 2 lines in space like that, and we want to attach a line right there, see how it snaps? It tells you right there, INT, that's an intersection snap. It's going to do the same thing there, the same thing there. A midpoint snap. Midpoint's going to snap to the midpoint of a line. Just like that. A point snap is going to snap to a point. If I had a point like that, then, and I have point snap on, it's going to snap to that point. It's always going to tell you what it's snapping to. The near snap. Near snap is going to snap near an object, just like that. An end snap. End snap's really useful. So end snap's going to snap to the end of another line. So if I'm drawing a box or anything like that, and I want to make sure that I have a closed contour, I turn on end snap, and I'm sure I have a closed contour there. Now after you draw something, these two buttons right here are explode and join. So you want to, it doesn't have to be joined to work in SheetCam, but you want to join it to make sure that you don't have any closed to make sure that it is a closed contour and nothing's open. So this we did in 2 sections. And we use the end snap, so we know it's good. We could send this to SheetCam, it's going to work. But if we wanted to be sure, we could hit the join button. Right up here at the top, it says 2 curves joined into 1 closed curve. That tells me that that's a closed curve. It's going to be no problems. Now when I click on it, it clicks as 1 unit instead of 2. Showing points. If I want to turn on control points, I can use this button right here to turn control points on and off. Okay, there's my control points. And now I can grab those points, move them around. This is group and ungroup right here. Grouping, if I wanted to say have 2 objects here, say I want to have all these move all at once, I'm going to group those. Now when they're grouped, I click on them, they select and they move as 1 unit. To ungroup, just hit the ungroup button. There's one other way to move things in Rhino, and that's to use the move tool. So if we click on this object, the move tool's right here on the toolbar under the standard tab. So we click on move, and I have the center snap turned on, so we're snapping to the center of that circle. Okay, so now I've got the circle, and I can place it anywhere I want just by left clicking, but I can also type in a number, and that number goes up here to the upper left corner. So I just typed in 12, and now I'm constrained to 12 inches. Notice my mouse is moving, but the circle's not moving more than 12 inches. So I can put it anywhere I want 12 inches away. If I want to constrain it to 90 degrees, I can hold the shift key, and it'll constrain to 90 degrees instead of anywhere. So we'll constrain it to 90, move it over exactly 12 inches, left click, and that's another way to move things. In the next videos, we'll talk about creating shapes using these buttons right here.